As a deer hunter, I want to know all I can about America's favorite big game animal. That's why I became a deer farmer. Without deer farms, we lose our greatest resource for research and whitetail management. With them, we gain more knowledge than ever before. Join me as we discover the truth about whitetails and meet those who work every day to preserve this great species for future generations. My name is Keith Warren, and this is Deer and Wildlife Stories. Okay, it is chaos in here. Excuse me. You know, you're a mighty big fella. Excuse me. Let me get around you. On today's show, it is chaos, folks. We're at T3 Whitetails, and we're going to show you some big stuff. Look at this dude. We're going to also show you that dude. We're going to head outside because it is chaos right now in here. When you come out here to T3 Whitetails, you're going to see some big deer. You're going to meet a big man, and you're going to meet Chris, and you're going to meet a bunch of nice cats. You're going to have a good time. The deal I look at, I think animal husbandry is so important. Whether you're animal husbandry with a cat or with a dog or with a deer. And as deer farmers, what we've learned that the better we take care of our animals, the healthier they are, the bigger they get, and the longer they live. And so deer farmers all over the country are doing better animal husbandry today than they've ever done before. And if you just come out to a modern deer farm like right here at T3 Whitetails, you'll see how the animals are all well taken care of. Two of the biggest things in the deer industry are right here at T3 Whitetails. One is right over there, and he's the biggest deer you'll ever believe. And one is right there, and he's a partner here at T3 Whitetails. This is John. John's a really big man, and he's really good for our industry because of a lot of things, but tell him about that buck right there.
That's Big Stitch over there. He's considered the biggest typical in the nation. He's 267 inches typical, 310 inches gross.
How wide is he?
He's 27 inches wide.
And at how old?
5 years old.
My gosh, folks, look at him. And the deal is, I want you to take a look. He's got him in with yearling bucks. And
yes, sir.
A lot of people would wonder why in the world is he running around with yearlings. Tell them what the purpose is.
We put Big Stitch with yearlings like we do all our breeder bucks, so they don't fight and damage one another.
In other words, he's going to kind of keep things under control.
Yeah, he's the boss.
It'd be kind of like you you're walking around, you're going to keep things under control.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm going to push you around, Keith. Just like he pushes them around.
And he will. All right. But okay, so I'm looking at all these other guys that he's pushing around. He's pushing around ones that you've got yellow tags and blue tags, and then you got some really nice red tags in there.
Yes,
what
sir.
are the different colors and what do they represent? What do they mean?
Well, the blue tags are from the ball line.
Yep.
The yellow tags are from the easy money line, and the red tags are Big Stitch.
Ooh, well, look at some of these red tags. I mean, the red tags, the yellows and the blues. I mean, you got some good ones, but I'm telling you what, these reds, I mean, they're nice. Now, let me ask you a question. Most deer farms that I go to, I know y'all aren't like this, but most deer farms I go to, folks, they will not sell you a yearling buck. I don't care how many stacks of $100 bills you got, they will not sell it. And the reason why is because they're scared, because everybody's trying to breed right. They're scared that that yearling's going to grow into the next Big Stitch.
That's right.
Okay, but y'all aren't that way.
No, sir.
Every one of these deer is for sale.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Every one of them for sale. It makes us proud to sell someone a deer, and that deer end up being the biggest breeder buck in his pens. And then that deer produce the next big breeder buck for him. That's what we're all about. So if you come out here and you see a yearling buck and you like him and you like his pedigree, you could take him home.
Well, I'll tell you right now, the yellows look great and the blues really look great, but the reds just smoke the other guys. But if somebody wants to come out here for a farm tour, give them a telephone number they can call.
You bet. You can call T3 Whitetails at 979-421-9677, or you can visit us online at www.t3whitetails.com.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you by the North American Deer Farmers Association, New Dart, Newport Labs, the North American Deer Registry, Beam Fence Company, Shock Effect, GMS, Deer Guardian Misting Systems, Record Rack Deer Feeds, T3 Whitetails, and Dr. Ray Favero's Whitetail Genetics. This one is from a guy by the name of Kevin. He lives in New York. He says, I'm a lifelong hunter and big fan of your show. I'm wondering how you see deer farming and hunting in the future. Do you think more hunters will understand the importance of deer farming, or will they continue to be at odds with each other? Kevin, that is a great question. I think as long as there are outreach programs like what we do on our television show or what they're doing here at T3 Whitetails, what most deer farm associations wind up doing, they're outreaching to hunters, to people that are interested in wildlife and conservation, to tell them what we're doing and why. And I think as long as people are open-minded will go to these deer farms and go to these functions, I think they'll understand the importance of deer farming and how it relates to hunting in the future. And Kevin, that's a really good question. I think as long as people are open-minded, I think the future looks really bright. A few years ago, we did something on Deer and Wildlife Stories that we had never done before. We decided we would go ahead and film Chris McDaniel rounding his bucks up and putting them in a deer barn and putting them in a trailer and taking them off and getting those pasture deer out to people. And the reason why it had never been done is because I don't think anybody was man enough to do it. I mean, it's a scary deal, to be honest with you. I mean, these bucks are big and they're strong. And when Chris did it back then, I thought, oh my gosh, how lucky we were to be able to get it all done and capture it on film and be able to show it to the audience. Well, this year, he wants to do it again, and I don't know if he can make it happen or not. Come on, boys. Up. Come on. Come on, boys. Up. Come on.
We got them all cut out into different groups. The pins they're going to go in till next year. So now we're going to set them back and send them back to their appropriate pins.
Deer farming has really gotten high tech, if you will. It used to be in the old days where you didn't have to have a computer to really keep up with your records, but now when you have a small operation like many people have, or a big operation like here at T3 Whitetails, a computer program is really essential in keeping good, accurate records. And as an industry, we use a program called GMS, and what it allows us to do is be able to input each and every animal. We can write down all the information, birth dates, where the animal came from, if you've got it sold, what kind of medications you've given it. Hey buddy, how you doing? And you can use these programs to be able to help actually with the lineage and be able to predict if you want to breed this doe, say with this buck, you can actually use it for that too. So deer industry is not just on a pencil and paper anymore like it used to be. It's gone to the computer age.
I'm Chase Clark, owner of Artemis Outdoors, a wildlife business consultation company. I've been in the business here since 1999. I've had the privilege of working with John and Chris here at T3 Whitetails for several years. T3 Whitetails is a very special place. They started with a purpose here of growing deer with gigantic frames, and they've done a fantastic job of that. Probably the most exceptional animal that they have here, of course, is Big Stitch, but they've got lots of other incredible bucks here also.
One thing that I really like about this is that these pens that you have are really big. They're real big, and I mean the deer, you know, they've got plenty of room to run. Now, one thing about deer farms, I want to point this out, that deer farms wind up, they're used to be able to enhance the value of a piece of land through wildlife. And so what we wind up doing, this pen right here, what we're going to show you, these are what we call pasture deer. People, private landowners, own a piece of property that for various reasons don't have quality deer on them anymore. They've been overhunted, mismanaged, habitat loss. There's lots of reasons for that, but they want to improve the quality of genetics. Well, to improve the quality of genetics and count on the state to be able to come in and help you with the quality of genetics, I think is like counting on winning the lottery. That's not going to happen. But you can count on a deer farmer like Chris to help you out, because you can buy genetics like these guys right here, and this is what we call pasture deer. So Chris, go ahead and tell them about these bucks in here.
These are 2-year-old pasture bucks. They're going to go, we've already got these sold. They're going to a new ranch down in South Texas to improve the genetics down there to for the next generation.
Now, as you look at these deer, you look at them and you think these are really big deer, okay? And these are deer farm deer, okay? And this right here, these deer will improve the genetics on a piece of property for years to come. When you purchase deer like this, and you purchase them from T3 Whitetails or from any deer farmer, when you purchase pasture deer, what you're able to do, you're able to take and immediately change the genetic structure on that piece of property by having an infusion of so many good genetics at one time.
It just overwhelms the genetic pool, and increases it forever. You change it forever.
And that's what's happening. I mean, what happens is trophy hunting has taken the top of the animals off every single year. And I got to point this out. I mean, I don't consider myself a trophy hunter. I'm a hunter. I'm not a trophy hunter. I mean, I've shot some big deer, but the deal is trophy hunting takes the top off. The best genetics. Pretty soon, what are you left with? Not very good genetics. But this right here, you look at this pen of deer right here, and these are great genetics that put on any piece of property, this will change it for years to come. So if somebody would be interested in buying some of these bucks or does or breeder deer from you, give them a telephone number.
T3 Whitetails at t3whitetails.com.
All right, folks, these are 2-year-olds pasture deer. We're gonna go take a look at some 3-year-old pasture deer now. Now it's time for the Beam Fence Minute.
Tying off a corner post or a gate post is really important to have a good straight looking fence when you're done. I'm Mark Beam from Beam Fence Company, and let me show you how we do it. The proper way to put these posts in the ground is the deeper the better. If you don't have good depth, when you begin to put pressure on that post to try to pull a wire straight, you're going to pull that fence over every time, or your corner post. You've got to make sure that that depth is deep. That's the key to a good strong corners and the key to a good strong gate as well. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to strip the wires off and get them clean, get all the stay wires off. Then we're going to wrap it around. It's really important that we want to keep that wire straight up and down on that post. All the verticals have to match up with that post to keep it straight. Don't want to have any angles, it's got to be nice and straight. So when you're tying off at that gate post or corner post, make sure that the verticals are straight up and down with your post that you're pulling off. That way when you pull, each wire is going to come even and your wire is going to look a lot better that way. Uneven wire, your wire is not going to pull tight all throughout the roll. For more helpful tips on building a fence, go to our website at beamfence.com.
Take a look at this 2-year-old out here. Oh my gosh. His name is Voodoo's Magic, and I mean, just look at him. This deer is typical. I mean, beautiful. He's symmetrical, he's tall, he's wide, he's got mass. This deer's got everything that the industry right now is looking for. And I promise you, after taking a look at this deer up close like this and seeing him firsthand, I will be using his semen in my artificial insemination program this coming fall. Another one of the big bucks out here is named Ball. I mean, take a look at him. He is great, big, and although he's not real typical looking, you ought to see the offspring that this guy throws. I mean, this guy has got the genetics unbelievable to throw nice, typical, clean-looking offspring. As you look at the video of Big Stitch in the pen with all those yearlings, you realize how big he is, but then all of a sudden, you come and you stand next to this right here. This is his 4-year-old set of antlers. And you take a look at him, and I mean, words just can't describe it. You know, take a look at the tine length, the beam length, the spread. Look at the symmetry on him. I mean, this is what they call the frame. The frame is just beautiful. He's got a nice drop on him, and the deer literally has everything that the deer industry is now looking for. The deer industry is trained to grow frames, big clean frames, and this deer right here has got people all over the country talking about him. His name is Big Stitch, and he's right here at T3 Whitetails. So how many deer you have on the farm?
I have 600 adults and around 150 fawns.
Okay. And if somebody wants to buy deer, I mean, we'll have a telephone number coming up for you and all, but if they want to say come out on a farm tour, when is the best time of year to do that?
The 2 best times to do farm tours are either in the late summer, early fall, or in December or January. The great 2 best times to do farm tours.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. I know that you got a special thing going on tonight, okay, and it's really an outreach program, and I think that a lot of people at home would be very interested in knowing that there's a lot of places that deer farmers that do outreach programs, but tell them what's going on and why you're doing it.
So John and I are giving back to the deer community as best we can to teach those young breeders coming up into the industry, to give them new tools, to give them the ways that weren't out there that we've learned, the tools of the trade and the different techniques that we've learned over the years, to give back to those breeders to help them.
You know, it was so important, folks, is that back 10 years ago, back when we started, I mean, it wasn't really that long ago. There wasn't a lot of information available. That there is today. I mean, today there is such a wealth of information that is available to you if you just attend these things. You can go to the TDA conference with the Texas Deer Association. You can go to the NADEFA, North American Deer Farmers, or associations all over the country. You can come to T3 Whitetails, and you look them up online because they do this every year.
Yes.
And it's to help you. I mean, they're not doing this to make money. They're doing this to give back to the industry and help people not make mistakes. We made plenty of them.
Yes.
And what we want to do is we want to help other people not make mistakes. We want to get you on the fast track. And I'll tell you what, when you come to a place like this and you deal with people like this, you're going to be on the fast track.
A really important part of what we do in the deer farming and breeding industry is make sure we give back to our community. And outreach and advocacy is one of the most important aspects of that. Today we're having a seminar to educate current deer breeders and possibly future deer breeders about the wonderful things that deer breeders do for the community, and we have experts from all over the country coming to speak to our guests today.
I'm Charlene Long. I've been a deer breeder for 10 years. I come to T3 Whitetails. They have wonderful genetics. I love their seminars. I learn, any deer breeder can learn from the beginning to people that have been in it for 20 years can learn something. It's the most wonderful seminar that you can ask to go to.
Hi, I'm Wes Clark from Triple C Whitetails near San Antonio. I've been coming to these seminars, well, every one that they've had. The unique thing about this seminar that they put on is you'll learn more here than you will everywhere else the entire year. They have an abundance of information here that they give out. There's no pressure to buy deer. It's just a great place to meet new friends and learn a lot about deer.
What a day we've had, folks. We are at T3 Whitetails, and we have shown you what is one of the biggest whitetail deer I've ever laid my eyes on. His name is Big Stitch. We've introduced you to the folks here at T3 Whitetails, and if you have any questions about the deer here at T3 Whitetails, you can get a hold of them. We'll have a direct link off of my website to their website. So go ahead and get a hold of them. They'll be happy to hear from you. If you got any questions or comments about the show, shoot me an email and I will get back with you and give you my word. I'm Keith Warren, and thank you for watching Deer and Wildlife Stories.